Dia, I've asked you. So we've had tons of conversations over the years. And maybe this is just me, but I really want to understand, why does a woman create a male testosterone or masculinity product? That may be the silliest question you get today.
No, I was actually expecting this question, but no one ever dared to ask me.
You know me too well.
Oh my God. Because masculinity, like femininity, is in a crisis. And healing doesn't always come from within the system that created the one. So I created Alpha Male not to define masculinity, but to liberate it, if that makes sense. To offer a new lens and root it in nature, not all this crazy chemical stuff out there. Just no noise. I've witnessed both as a woman and as a psychologist how toxic expectations of manhood, this psychism, this dominance, this endless, expectations, how exhausting and humanizing that is. So many men are, I feel, at least not a man, but they're silently burning or trying to uphold an identity what is, it's never authentic. It's not theirs to begin with. And this all causes this mess and this issue. It's libido loss, infertility, and intimacy difficulties, just to name a few physical ones. I'm not even going into the psychological ones. They're as painful or even more. So why a woman rod? Because it's hard to see things as they are when you are caught up in the middle. And we generally see things that as we are. And that feeds into the issue, not into the solution. So I feel the issue and the collective pain of this masculinity mess as a woman. And I do also anticipate with it from a man's perspective, if I can say it like that. And you know what? I'm not ashamed talking about it. I want the man to turn their scars into wisdom, their struggles into strengths, and their setbacks into comeback. We will all participate. So it's not about giving a man more testosterone or about helping them to reclaim their vitality physically. Yes, that's cool, but you want them to really reclaim it emotionally, sexually, spiritually. It's about creating space for a new masculine archetype. This is what I feel. Powerful, because it's not just performance, it's authentic and it's integrated.
See, what's so interesting, it's a little bit, not scary, but so that toxic expectation. I've always felt that there's a reason why men's friendships with other men, when you find a good friend, you keep them for decades, because it takes forever to get to the point where you can even mention some of the topics that you just spoke about in like a 2-minute frame. We don't talk about these sorts of things. But when you said about toxic expectation, man, that strikes a chord. I can think of countless conversations with guys at the gym or colleagues or people that I interview or my neighbors. That expectation, I don't know if we know where to go with it. That's part of the challenge. And that's so when you were talking about watching us as men, it was almost like you were saying you can see us almost like from a fish tank, like you're looking into a fish tank and wondering, what are those fish doing? Do you mind sharing? Like, what do women talk about when they're seeing or observing that we don't know how to act? We don't know how to respond. We don't know when to act like a man or not. And if it's appropriate or if we're bashing through some cultural norm, what are women saying to each other?
We talk about it. Did I even say they? It's like I almost dissociated from that kind of woman because I just don't like it anymore. But yes, we do talk about it. And it's an issue. It's a huge issue. And it's often in hushed tones and behind closed doors. And it would speak about the men we truly love the way they are. But sometimes it's just as this man's all this anxiousness, they're angry, they are numb, they're shut down, they won't talk about their feeling. And what I feel is that women generally don't feel that they are broken. It's just what we would say is, oh, those guys so disconnected from himself. This is so unsexy and is pretending to. And I feel many women are longing for men who feel deeply and show it and lead from presence and dare to soften without shame. But isn't it like society doesn't give you guys the permission? This is what I feel. So I feel you guys have to step up for yourself and just be.
I find that a lot of men, I'll
Yeah.
say this for myself as well. It's like you almost feel like you have to apologize for your opinion or position. And so I mean, this may sound odd, but I don't know if men, if they're really honest with themselves, can define what masculinity is right now. I think we had a lot of, especially in the US, right? We had these sort of cultural norms in Hollywood that would tell us chop wood, talk loudly, make money, work out,
Yeah.
whatever it was. But I don't know if we know really what it is, or maybe even I should be saying could be.
Yeah.
What is your view of masculinity now?
For me, a man who knows and lives his softness is the most dangerous strong. This is
Most dangerous kind of strong.
Yes.
Wow, that's foul.
Yeah.
I
This
like
is
that.
what I feel. And for me also, I observe that the measure of a man, it's not how he behaves in moments of comfort. And by the way, gym is comfort. Guys, don't even think of that gym is discomfort. Yes, it's workout, but I know it's not about how men's behave in moments of comfort. It's how they withstand in times of challenge and kind of disgrace, integrity, and most importantly, the emotional presence. And you just talked about performance. For me, masculinity is really not about performance, it's about presence. And generally, you mentioned it a few times. You used a lot the word empowerment. And my radical side, empowerment isn't masculine or feminine. I feel it's human. Didn't we just gender power in a way? And in doing so, we just cut mans off from their inner authority, and that doesn't rely on control, achievement, or external validation. It's a total different thing. And I think you're really in a big mess here, and it's not easy for the women who are pulling and they want their man to be soft and kind and nice and act with grace. And on the other hand, sorry and bold and out there. And I truly understand the issue here. And maybe the next question, I hope you won't ask me, but I answer it both is, and alpha male helps to fix all this? No. And it's not the next testosterone pill you just add, but it triggers a lot of this kind of things and this consciousness, and hopefully helps to heal this masculine part by not only by how do you say that? It's by more like by integrating it and feeling it from yourself from inside out, and no expectations, just being. Men are great the way they are. I don't know why they are so confused. Do you feel confused?
Oh yeah,
And
quite
why
often.
do you feel confused?
Oh man, that's why do I feel confused? I don't know. It feels like the image that I have is an elevator that stops between two floors. And you don't know if you were supposed to get off at the floor below that you see or the one that you aspire to above. And you, in essence, don't have the tools or the language. I'll give you an example. We're both parents. We both have son. You have a son. I have a son. I watch, my son's a little bit younger, and I see him and his aggression in that traditional male, whatever that sense of self is. I see that on the athletic field when he's playing competitive soccer. He's not the biggest kid, but he goes up against the biggest kids without fear right, of failure. But then I'll see him in other instances where he has to find a different language to almost communicate some level of strength, or I like the word that you used, authority. That could be the trigger word, if there's a trigger word, like this sense of authority. It's that competency. It's more of our jobs now, we're behind a desk and a screen. We're not outdoors. I'll say this, I miss the competitiveness that my son gets to experience on the athletic field.
I
In
understand.
my 40s, there's something about, and Dia, how many times? I don't know if women do this. I'd love to know. But there's so many times that the dads who stand together and watch these games, we will make comments like if something happens, we say, boy, if I had a jersey on right now. When I love to be out there in the rain, getting muddy and going
Mhm.
at this sort of battle, right? That means nothing in the big picture, but in that moment means everything. I don't know if we have those experiences or opportunities. Do you see us struggling with that? And does that make any sense?
Actually, this part is something which gets women confused because you guys pretend that you love to be out there in the rain, so mad and do the things, and then you want to go for a walk with your husband, and then the dude is, but it's raining outside or it's cold. What the heck is going on? So this confuses me, actually. So, yes, and it makes a lot of sense. Also, it doesn't, because for me, as a woman building an hypermasculine, and this in this hypermasculine business world, and building a business in this world as a mother holding space for everyone but myself, and as a human navigating pressure, dressed up as ambition, I've been there in this confusion myself, especially when I understood that I scared the hell out of men. And I cannot talk about that, what I feel now. And I was dramatic because it's quiet there. You're alone as a woman. And that's a terrifying part.
Isn't
And
that
this
the
is
irony though? Because
all
the
about.
the men feel alone. So like when
Mhm.
you talked about taking a walk and it's raining out,
Yeah.
I think that's about what's at stake. If you put sort of men in their 40s on an athletic field, they know that there is a clock ticking down and they have an opportunity to win something.
Yeah. I
A
understand.
lot of men they may not want to admit it, and I'll own this, but I think the fear of taking that walk is the stakes are that you potentially have done something wrong or it will be revealed that you didn't do enough. I'm not saying that's what is the intention at all,
Yeah.
but a lot of men I would think would be shaking their heads going, it may not be fair, but that's how I feel.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think this ambition, and this is what you feel on the field out there, is what we miss in the relationship. And this is being also leading the game. But still, an alpha doesn't mean that you lead all the time. It's an alpha observes. And no, I hope you're not upset with me if I say, just let's compare it with wolves out there. There is this alpha wolf, male or female, doesn't matter. Again, we are gendering around left and right, and this has this, and this has to do that. But speaking about masculinity, or speaking about leadership, and this is the protection we want. And therefore, I feel if you're alpha, it's you should understand, and this is what I truly miss. You should understand when it's time to step back. When you are tired, you should be able to embrace and show your emotions. Because if you, and that is the main problem we are facing, the men pretend they are okay, but they're not. Okay, I would be ready for the next argument. If my husband would come and say, "Oh, I feel good, babe, I'm happy," and then I'm like, "It's totally off." Okay, sure. Maybe he doesn't trust me. I don't say that's the case, but he doesn't trust me. He's hiding something. Oh my God, he maybe has an affair, or something has happened, or I am not enough because he's not speaking with me. And it's this level where, like on the field, coming back what you just said, let's go out there, let's fight, let's discuss. And I just felt when you're as a man, you're not able to talk what you feel, and that's different than to what you feel. This creates a huge disconnect, and this is where the mess starts. And I don't say that women don't do it as well, but this is really something we are lacking on. And I don't know how we are able to bring this passion from I want to fight it, I want to win. It doesn't mean to beat somebody up, just meaning to make you fight yourself, because growth never happens in the comfort zone. It would be great to embrace that in relationships and for men on a daily basis, and not just having it out there on the muddy field at home.
I couldn't agree more. It made me think in my writing, I
Mhm.
remember where I was, Dia. I was landing in Dakar, Senegal, in Western Africa. The plane is approaching and I'm looking out. I'd never been to Africa before. And in that moment, I decided that my writing from that point forward was going to be the writing that I think of in my mind. If I was a painter, how I paint in my mind. I was going to stop writing and communicating in what I thought. See, that's part of what, for me, that it's the expectation, that those toxic expectations. People expect something, and then all I'm doing is chasing my own tail. And when I made that decision, everything changed. It impacted my book that's coming out, everything that I do now. I'm okay with writing about that I don't know, or that, you know what, something didn't work out, but it was not easy. And it is still it's almost like putting a string around your finger as a reminder. Don't forget, like I have to remind myself
Yeah,
because I don't want to lose a sense of self, like that
No.
feeling of.
Absolutely. And it's so wrong because the inner work isn't selfish. It's the most generous thing we can do for ourselves and especially for the people. Because when we're disconnected from ourselves, the people closest to us, they feel it. And
They
even
suffer.
functionally, exactly. Our kids feel it and their parents, our partner feel it in the unspoken. The friends feel it in the absence of laughter or just, they always feel it. And we think we're hiding everything well, but present doesn't lie. People around us have to adjust to us. That's the toxic part. And then everything falls apart.
So that's so interesting you said that, because I wrote about this in my book, and this is not a plug, but it's a story that has resonated with me all these years. That level, like when you said other people have to change, right? That's part of the like when you, in essence, when I start to recognize my own vulnerabilities and I understand and I find my sense of self, there may be impacts to other people that can't think of me in the way I used to be. And that's not a bad thing. There's an adjustment period because I'm taking ownership of myself and my contribution. But I would see that when parents would bring teenagers in for mental health support or help, they were so used to seeing their child as this identified patient that when I would say to them, look, I believe in Johnny, I think there's something there. And then I would ask them, how are you going to adapt as parents when Johnny realizes a different sense of self that is productive and valuable to him? And they would never know how to respond to that, Dia. It was just because sometimes it feels good to channel our own fears into somebody else or a project.
Energy is contagious. And a huge issue. You have to start from yourself, really. And it's freaking hard way. And that's another, you asked me that at the very beginning. But for me, creating alpha male is an answer also how to find a way back to myself. It's an answer to shattered expectations. Because man did that to me. I allowed that to happen. It's from total different angles. And I always needed a hero. So that's what I became.
And see, it's so important what you just said. What I heard you say, and tell me if I'm wrong, what I heard you say was you walked into the world with expectations based on what you had learned, you had seen, you had watched, you had read.
Yes.
And you found, wait a minute, that's not true. So I'm going to look in a different direction to understand it, because guess what? These are my words. In essence, if you're selfish, meaning you care about your own sort of enjoyment of life, you want to be around other people. And now in this, like what we're talking about as men, that feel comfortable, that understand that there's real power in both silence and activism, right? That you can find a balance that centers yourself on that energy and that you can be in relationship with another person. That's I love that sort of turn or twist that you made. And I think it makes a lot of sense now why you came up with alpha male, that, thank you. You're helping us find a sense of self. But my question, Dia, is I'm so curious, like, how have you, whenever you felt that you've lost a sense of self, how have you gotten yourself whatever back means to you, to feeling yourself?
Yeah. It's, I first realized that all the wounds, the pain I have, and everything is my fault. Some things happen when you're small, or you cannot take responsibility for your wounds or for all the things happening in your life. But healing your wounds, healing my wounds would be my responsibility. And understanding that was a very first big step. And generally pain travels through families until someone is ready to feel and heal it and talk about it. It's not ashamed. And if you ask me how did I do it, I feel like, if I'm in the position to give advice, but I think this is so important. I was resonating a lot with the word stillness. If there is pain and you want to find yourself back, sit with it. Don't drink it away. Don't smoke it away. Don't run it away. Sit with it. Healing happens by feeling, man's out there. Healing happens by feeling, and feeling often is not cool, okay? So finding myself was not a simple thing. It was just, it was also, I don't know, sometimes it's so attached to grief or shame because the version of yourself you have accepted just to perform and to be able to function. And then your partner or everybody would say, but that's not you. But actually, you don't even know who I am and how I am. Yeah, because I pretended all the time that I'm the way. Oh my God, what a mess. So to answer your question straightforward, and now I feel it, really, I embrace it and I feel it. I'm not ashamed of I'm broken and I'm not, I feel like a beautiful mosaic of the battles I won. And that's fine. So I didn't find myself. I just really tried to remember myself and where I feel comfortable with myself. And remembering requires this silence, which I spoke about, this stillness. Sit with it. Because healing happens by feeling.
I love that. And I wrote down, because I'm not going to forget this, but this notion of your life is a mosaic of the battles you've won. That's good. When's your book coming out, Dia? That's really good. No, because
I need somebody helps me writing it.
It's just what I love about it is you're still honoring the battle. And I think that's a huge issue for men.
Hey, look at me.
Yeah.
Men's out there. It made you the way you are. So embrace whatever happened to you. Speak about it. And that's what alphas do. It was animals. Animals show their scars. They show their wounds. And it's okay. Why is this vulnerability such a big deal? It's just, this causes all these issues. I wish, and this is what this alpha male and this kind of thing we just talked about, the products or the supplements, what they hopefully could do to trigger a little bit this idea about how it should feel. And emotions are real. That is fact. Nothing is real. Nothing is real out there. The only thing which is real is the here and now and the emotion we feel. It's important to feel the emotion. Don't become the emotion. Don't act on the emotion. Don't act on the ego. Try to observe it. Okay, this is happening out there. And then this is what hopefully Amir does. To be able to integrate that emotion and to express it in a way that it comes from inside and not in an aggressive way, because this causes, we spoke about it, a lot of confusion. But with the persons you were interacting with and very often with yourself. How many times I was sitting with friends and I have a lot of amazing alpha males in my life and they cry a lot and I love it. It's great. I talk to my son and whenever he cries, I'm like, you are bold, man. Go for it. Cry it all out. It's not, I said it at the beginning, it's not the man who show up. The most dangerous men are the one who live and show their softness because they don't give a shit.
How do you follow that? Here's what I would say. I'm getting ready to go run around outside so I can feel younger myself. I want to just end our conversation on this and just get your thought on it. I actually think when you were talking, it made me think about when I take Alpha Male, it's the act, it's not just a supplement, but there's a conscious choice going from your mind that says, I'm going to take this. So you go and you open the bottle up and you take the supplement. But that is a massive choice that is also empowering. And I don't want to, and to me, those are little battles. They're part of the mosaic that says it's an acknowledgement that you want better. You want something different and new so you can feel yourself again. Just that act, I think I don't know why, it feels very empowering to me. And there's a comfort there just in that action.
Yeah, because masculinity is not a performance, right? It's the courage to feel deeply, to love, and to live authentically. That is important. And I truly wish that men open up for that idea. And you said you want to end the podcast, but I have prepared something which I want to share with you personally.
Okay.
Not from me, unfortunately, but
I love surprises.
like it struck me so much. It's so powerful. And it goes back to this vulnerability and showing off and out at the field and this authenticity and how we should embrace it. Let me read something for you and for everybody who hopefully listens to our podcast. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I can talk to you about broken families, about addiction, about depression, about loss, about survival, grief, heartache, death, abuse, neglect, abandonment, suicide, and about betrayal. I can also talk to you about empathy, about kindness, compassion, love, energy, about forgiveness, self-love, self-care, strength, peace, healing, recovery, unity, gratitude, grace, hope, and the power of positivity. All of these experiences have taken part in creating the woman I am today. You can also say the man I am today. I am a combination of both the light and the darkness. And that's okay. I may be flawed, but even with the raw edges, I'm still worth loving. I'm not ashamed of my story because I'm a survivor. And I felt that so deeply. I wanted to share it with you and with all the men out there. Because it's not about women, it's about men. It's men. So.
I love that. Look, everybody, you can check out more. Go to NOOT.us. You can find us all over the social networks. And don't forget to follow Dia. And we're going to be putting more of these together. Live your life bold and be mindful.